yourself a break. Here you'll find some love, music, laughter, and above all, she'll dare to tell the truth. And so come to Granny's place and give your spirit a big boost.
Welcome to Granny's Place, a haven for love, entertainment, and uncommon sense. I'm Sweet Baby James.
Did you
I'm
hear
here to
that
introduce you
uncommon
to
sense?
very uncommon
You heard that.
to tonight's show, which is on the theme of you ask the questions and Granny provides the answers. And I'd like to introduce Granny Rocks, which is another name for Beth Green, an intuitively guided counselor with 38 years of experience. She's been a longtime social activist and is the author of 6 books about human behavior. She has unusual insights into our issues, personal and social, as well as a special warmth and humor, which helps us to look at ourselves more honestly. Plus, whatever the question, Granny uses music and her humor to deliver a message that has universal applicability and addresses the heart of the matter. So even if you haven't submitted a question for this show, you may well discover that Granny's comments to other viewers answer questions you didn't even know you had. Be aware that Granny answers all questions in the order she receives them, so put yours in as soon as possible. And so now, here's Granny.
Well, there's a little grumpiness in the field tonight. I'm almost Granny Grumps, and that's very unusual for me, but I've been having experience with Sweet Baby Grump over there.
Sometimes I'm called Gramps. Or
And
Grumps.
sometimes we call Grumps. So anyway, I'm sure that will be very relevant to the show. But if you're hanging up now, don't, because I promise you that we will improve as the show goes on. So anyway, welcome to Granny's Place. We are the as you are kind of people, right?
Yeah, come
Come
as you are.
as you are. So welcome, 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 welcome. And if you're in a grumpy mood or you're whatever you are welcome, because you can see we are, right? So you shouldn't feel embarrassed because you'll fit right in.
There we are. Are we ready for the first question?
I think we are.
Okay, this one is from Anonymous. Hi, Granny. I consider myself an old-growth worrywart. I want to be able to enjoy the amazing life I'm living and leave behind my old patterns of worrying about anything and nothing. I greatly appreciate your show and watch it every week. Maybe someday I'll stop worrying and show up at Granny's Kitchen.
Hi there, Anonymous. Well, I wish you would show up at Granny's Kitchen. And since you mentioned it, well, I guess we just have to tell people what Granny's Kitchen is if you don't know. See, at Granny's Place, of course, we have this living room, which you can see is just a normal living room, right? And the Granny's Kitchen doesn't look like a kitchen either. But anyway, what Granny's Kitchen is an opportunity for us to talk to one another in person, and you get the benefit of me live.
Could you call it kitchen soup for the soul?
So anyway, so at Granny's Kitchen, we do it on video conference. And you can even call into the video conference on the phone if you don't have any other way. But you can do it anonymously. Your face can show up however you want to come. And what we do at Granny's Kitchen is we talk about whatever it is that we've talked about on the show. So whatever the topics. So let's say you ask this question and then you want to make a comment on worrywartism, or you're really interested in what I had to say, or you hated what I had to say, whatever it is, you can come to Granny's Kitchen. And if you look at any post, right, that you're looking at, because you have to be on a post in order to be seeing this on Facebook, you will see instructions on how to get on Granny's Kitchen. And that is at 7:15 Pacific, which is 15 minutes after airing of this show live on Wednesdays, so it's at 7:15 Pacific time, and you are most welcome and invited. So, in fact, why don't I just talk about the lineup? See, we have at 6:15 Pacific, we have Granny Reps on the news, and that's I'm just talking, and there's no piano. And then at 6:30 Pacific, we have, this is all Wednesday nights, this is Granny's night, we have Granny's Place, where I answer your questions to the very best of my ability. And that's when I have my piano, and that at 7:15 we meet on the internet and we talk about it. So it's a great way to spend Wednesday nights. One woman wrote, she said, "Oh, it's a Wednesday, I'm so happy I can be with you." You see, you might feel that way too. See, I told you it was going to get better. I can't
It's very
stay,
supportive.
I
Very
can't
supportive.
stay grumpy for long, can I?
No.
I mean, it's just too annoying to
Me
me.
neither.
Yeah. You can't stay grumpy for long.
Not tonight.
Oh yeah, you already asked me the question. So I talked about Granny. So yes, so come to Granny's Kitchen. We would love to have you. So now let me get back to the question. You said, well, you haven't answered my question yet. You just went rapping on about Granny's Kitchen. Anyway,
So she'd like to stop worrying.
she would like to stop worrying. So I noticed that you called yourself an old growth worry wart. I guess that means that you have a worry problem that is about the size of a redwood tree. Is that in full, 1,000-year-old redwood tree? That is very interesting because these really huge trees, these old growth trees, that's a clue, isn't it? That it is old growth. You probably have had a worry wart issue for a long time. Now, you may have, I want to talk about our worry wartism and how that could come to us and why in the old growth way. Meaning, first of all, you may have inherited an anxiety gene, right? If there is such a thing, a worry wart gene, it may run in the family, but it may run in your family in a different way. You may have had a parent who was your model, who was a worrier. My mother was a worrier. She worried about everything, and it was very aggravating actually to the rest of us because we were constantly having to reassure her that everything was okay. You left the house and, you have a 5-minute drive home and you have to call her as soon as you get home or she's going to worry. So here it is, you've got other things you want to do when you get home, but no, you have to call mom, right? So it's a very controlling kind of a thing, this worry thing, because you're constantly demanding that everybody reassure you. Isn't that interesting? I wonder where that comes from anyway. If you had a worry wart in your family, you may have inherited that way of being. Now,
And also, I wonder if she had a positive incentive for worrying, like looking responsible.
well, absolutely. You see, if you had a worry wart in the family who happened to have been the major stalwart figure who kept the family together, so you're thinking, wow, see, the people who hold the family together, they're the worriers. So you kind of confuse the worrying with the holding the family together. You start to imitate, you know what I mean? You start to imitate that person who you think is very responsible or very respected or whatever thing. So you want to be respected too, so you're going to worry. You're going to worry just like they, and then you're going to have some of their grandeur. It's like when you see a kid, you're in Walmart or something, and you see a family, and the son, who is, 10, sounds just like his father. I mean, the same tone of voice, the same language, the same attitude, the same, oh, mom, or whatever it is. So he's imitating. So you may have imitated. See, that's old growth. See, it comes from somebody. And sometimes we think that that's going to make us look like that person who we respect or we think other people respect. Also, if we have gotten the impression that worrying is what you do in order to be responsible, like you said, sweet baby James, we want to look that way, so then we start worrying. Or if you interpret worry as love, like the mother says, well, I'm worried about you because I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. That's why I'm so worried. Not because I'm neurotic. No, it's because I love you. So every time you want to be loving, you say, oh, I'm worried about you. I'm so worried about you. I'm so worried. So that's an old growth kind of thing, isn't it? Because you've inherited it. Now, you may be looking for something that you get from worrying. That's some respect, some feeling that you've been appreciated. And you may also be pulling on people, because if they have to worry about your worrying, then they're constantly reassuring you, and then you feel important because you're always being reassured. See, there's all kinds of reasons. So what I say is, cut it down. The only old growth tree I would ever recommend that you cut down
Is the worry tree.
is the worry tree. Worry is a total waste of energy. It's not the same as consciousness. Consciousness and worry are like totally different. Consciousness is like, I'm aware. It's like, okay, I'm aware. But worry is, it's all about me, actually. It's like, oh, I'm so worried. And then it becomes about you. It's like, I was so worried about you. No, you really weren't worried about them. You were worried about how worried you were feeling, and you really want them to come back and reassure you that, so this gives you more love. Did you get that?
Yeah.
It's very self-centered, worry. So, and the people who do it think they're being martyrs. Oh, but I'm so worried about you. I was so worried about you. So it's just another way that our self-centered us gets in the way. So cut that tree down and come to Granny's place and talk and laugh. And, I have in God's Little Aphorisms, which is one of my books, God's Little Aphorisms, one-liners from the source. So an aphorism is a saying that came to me, and I had one which says, don't worry today about what you can worry about tomorrow. See, don't waste your time worrying today about something you can't do anything about, or that's not even relevant. Worry about it tomorrow. You're wasting your energy, and come to Granny's.
And Mayor Baba, when he wasn't speaking anymore, he had a chalkboard that said, don't worry, be happy.
Yeah, great idea. Right? Sure, of course.
Or go back to when you, before you began to be a worrier, and then see if you can change the scenario of what happened, maybe.
Well, you might really want to turn to the parent who, if there was a parent who modeled this for you, and say, your worrying isn't helping anything. It's just drawing all the energy to you. And it's really just a way of controlling me.
Oh, very good.
Okay.
Shall we go on?
Yes, let's go on.
Okay. Another one from another anonymous. I am remarried, but have an overwhelming annual alimony to my ex-wife due to a very lopsided divorce settlement that I agreed to out of guilt. I have tried to redo it in court, but they denied it. My current wife feels so frustrated by our constant financial stress and her need to supplement my income just to pay my ex's taxes, for which I am liable. So we've decided to do anything we can to fight this, but I feel inadequate and hopeless at times. We fight about this and don't seem to be able to work together and enjoy the life we have because of the financial stress and the feeling of resentment that I made such a huge mistake in signing that agreement to start with. Do you have any suggestions?
Whose resentment is that?
You said we have such resentment.
Well, are you resenting the ex-wife, or is everybody resenting you? See, I think this is a fascinating question, and one that many of us can relate to. There are so many levels that I could answer that question on. But the first thing is I would like to start with some assumptions, and I hope that I'm assuming correctly, that when you met your current wife, that she knew that you had this debt and that it was going to be weighing on you. Now, I'm also assuming that you're in the process now of trying to fight it and that you're together on that decision. And I also heard something interesting where you said that she is supplementing your income to pay for the other person's taxes. So, in other words, you are making a living and you are providing support to this family, and she's supplementing your income just to pay the taxes. Well, of course that's annoying. Who the heck wants to do that? I don't want to be paying sweet baby James' ex-wife's hairdresser bill or anything like that. I mean, I can totally understand all, but if the two of you are not working together, that means that there is some worm afoot, that it goes beyond just that, oh, this sucks big times, and I wish it wasn't true, but there it is, right? And we are lovey-dovey and fighting this together. Oh yes, like you have cancer, and it's like, oh darling, oh, you have cancer, we must fight this together. So what is going on that is really going on in the relationship? So the first thing is, I would want to know is why your wife, current wife, is angry at you. Because you can say, well, it's because I did this stupid thing, 20 years ago or 10 years ago or 5 years ago was my ex-wife. Really, but if she knew that before, then why is she angry at you now? So this is an invitation for you to look within your relationship and look at your current wife and ask her some questions like, do you think I should support you and that you shouldn't have to work to supplement our family income? This is a family expense. You're contributing to the family, and so you are putting the money. You're not working to pay my ex's taxes. You are working outside the home in order to supplement our family income, which is used to keep us in home, keep us in food, send us on vacations, pay for the car, fix our teeth, and pay for my ex-wife's alimony, right? So is that the attitude that you're both taking? It doesn't sound like that. It sounds like you're the bad guy and you did this terrible thing, right? And so the first thing is to reframe that whole conversation about the money. Now, again, I'm making assumptions on a few things that you said. I hope I'm interpreting you correctly. Then the next thing that you need to do, so it's going back to continuing that topic, is what is her expectation of what, I'm assuming this is a man and a woman, right?
Sounds right.
Or even if it's a woman and woman, it still is going to have the same thing. It's like there is an expectation in your current wife that you are supposed to be able to support her without this. And you want to ask her where that's coming from. You might also ask her if she has an actual fear about the money. Or is it that, oh my God, she's all stressed out because she's worrying about the future and she's afraid that there isn't going to be enough? Or is it something else? Is it simply that your current wife resents you for having been a jerk and having been stupid when you did that divorce? Well, why does she resent that? Is it because you're still, weak? Does she see you as weak, as unable to stand up for yourself? Are you feeling guilty because you had an affair and you did something and you were a bad husband and so you were buying yourself out? Are you still a bad husband? If you're a good husband, then stop feeling guilty about the past and pat yourself on the head for saying, oh my goodness, I'm a much better husband than I used to be, and you should be happy because I learned so much in that relationship about being a bad husband, and now I'm all here. See? And
what is her part? Perhaps she brought some baggage into the relationship too.
That's
Most
what I've
people
been
do.
talking about. I've been only really talking about her part of her attitudes about the money.
Mm-hmm.
So then there's other questions like, why doesn't she also feel the joy that at least you're out of that marriage and you can be together? And why aren't the two of you enjoying what you are paying for? You are paying for your freedom every year, right?
That's right.
Well, hell, enjoy it. So what I'm telling you is that you should be looking beneath the surface of this conversation and stop accepting that it's all about that you were a wimp with your first wife in your divorce and that you were guilty, and maybe what you were guilty about. Maybe your wife is actually angry about whatever it is that you did, like you had an affair or whatever. And get over that and see who you are now and see the value that you bring. Now, there's one other thing that I want to say about this. Actually, I could talk about this all day because there are so many levels of this, and I hope that something that I'm saying is hitting a chord somewhere. I just forgot what I was going to say. This is, of course, the most important part, is that you, 'cause, 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 ' Why would I have forgotten what I was just going to say? I'm being blocked. The gremlins don't want me to say this to you. Yes. Is it possible that your wife, current wife, was in a romantic frame of mind, romanticizing frame of mind when you got together? If she actually knew about this problem with the divorce that was hanging over, was she feeling like, that's all right, Lawrence. We'll face this together. Oh, yes. I knew that. See, this is how this was blocked. Blocked meaning like I couldn't even connect to myself, because so many of us have this. When we start a relationship, we're kind of in a romance with the idea, yes, my loved one is bipolar, and it's very difficult for him to relate, but I'm the only one who understands him, and I can handle it. Or my lover is going to prison for 15 years, but that isn't going to stop me from being faithful. So, because, I love him. How long has it been? 2 weeks and 3 days. Oh my God, I'm really getting sick of this. I have to do everything myself. He's in prison. What the hell is he doing? What am I doing in this marriage anyway? Or, but you marry someone who is disabled. Say everybody's got something, right? So you marry somebody who's disabled, and at first you feel like Florence Nightingale because you're such a good nurse and you're so caring. And then after a while, the 27th time, you come because the bell has rung, and you have to come in and help that person onto the toilet. Maybe it gets a little old. Now, I'm not saying that any of those things are insurmountable obstacles. What I'm saying is that very often we romanticize relationships and we say, oh yes, I don't have a problem with that, and then we get tired of the consequences of it, and we have to work through whether we were in love with the idea of this person or we were actually in love with this person. And if we're in love with this person, we're sort of stuck with what this person has, aren't we? So, you can say, I suggest you get some counseling, like Pronto. And I do counseling. You can find out about me on the theinnerrevolution.org website. But get counseling from anybody. I counsel on the internet. You can get all kinds of couples counseling and find out what is
when you say
really
on the internet, you mean a video conference face to face.
I do video conference with people. But you can do this with anybody. Go and find out what is really going on in your relationship. It feels like your wife is kind of disgusted with you, and that could be because of something she's bringing in. Or it could be something like you are still being a wimp. Maybe you're being a wimp with your wife and she doesn't like it. And so she is pointing out that you were a wimp with your ex-wife, but she's actually would like to have you stand up more for yourself. You never know. Be open to the exploration and use this time wisely instead of just waiting for this bill to go away. Why don't you do some introspection and find out what is ruining your marriage?
Yes. Okay, the next one is from Anonymous. Someone I love
These
made
are all
me
different
sick.
anonymi, by the way.
They are. Someone I love made me sick, and I can't be cured. He is in denial, and he hasn't even checked on me or said he was sorry, and I'm hoping that he is sick as I am. I cannot find closure.
Well, it sounds like you're getting as sick as him. If you're behaving like that, you're just like, I'm sure you're kind of embarrassed by that, but I'm glad you admitted it. I hope he's as sick as I am. That's going to make you feel much better. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. But anyway, okay. So now I am going to take on faith that this guy, actually, or woman, you could be two guys, or it could be,
But the other person is a guy.
the other person is a guy. So it's either a man or a woman, or a man and man, or, a transgender and whatever. So, I'm taking it on faith that you actually got this from this guy. If the guy actually doesn't show any symptoms, because you're saying he's not sick, right? Maybe he didn't give it to you. Maybe somebody else gave it to you a long time ago and you only developed the symptoms and he really didn't give it to you. And that's why he's saying, what's the matter with you, lady? Or a man, or whoever you are. I didn't give this to you, right? So that's a possibility, isn't it? But let's say he did give it to you. Now, why would he behave in this crap hole way? Well, first of all, maybe he just really doesn't love you, never did, and you are just a pain in the butt because he doesn't want to face the issue because, oh, now you're a problem. You know, maybe you need to go to the doctor, maybe you need money, maybe you need help. You know, who would want that? You know, if the person doesn't love you, they're not going to want to bother. But most of the time, now, I'm not saying this is true for you, but most of the time when people behave in that way, it's like denial and who cares and go away, it's because they feel guilty. Guilty, guilty, guilty. Don't they, James?
Oh, yeah.
Very guilty.
Oh, yeah.
Very So they're feeling guilty, like, oh no, I ruined this person's life. I mean, that's horrible. And I hope that, you know, you're going to be able to live with whatever it is that ails you, and you're going to have to work with it regardless of what he does. You know, you have to learn to live with your illness and manage it. And, you know, many of us have illness.
In other words, if he doesn't give you closure, you need to get the closure without him
You do,
involved with
because
giving it.
you need to look at yourself in this situation, of course, again, and ask yourself, why are you so angry? Because he may just be feeling guilty. He doesn't want to face what he did, and he wants to put all the shit on you, which is what people do. But do you also feel embarrassed? Do you feel like maybe you knew he was like that, kind of irresponsible, and you ignored it because you were in a romance? Like we were just talking about this. Oh, yes, but you know. Did you see him being irresponsible towards others, and you said, oh yeah, but he won't be like that with me because, you know, he really loves me and I really love him, and, you know, you romanticize the relationship, and then suddenly you find out that he's weak and he can't face things. You know, did you see signs of this before, that he was like this? And are you angry with yourself for getting involved with somebody who is so irresponsible? Those kinds of things, Anonymous, are going to make you feel bad about yourself. And you can't heal on an emotional level and have closure if you're walking around feeling angry about yourself. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because you have to deal with your embarrassment in front of yourself, your anger at yourself. Do you feel like he betrayed you, or do you feel like you betrayed yourself, that you were fooled by something, and you say you still love him? I wonder. So I'm suggesting to you that you have to do some of that soul searching that I was just suggesting to the other Anonymous in the marriage, like what's really wrong with that marriage, and that you look at, did you have any glimpse of this character that he had before? Did you do anything about it, or did you think you were different? Are you embarrassed in front of yourself? Do you feel betrayed by him or by you? This is assuming that he isn't coming to you for forgiveness, which is kind of what you're saying. So as Sweet Baby James said, you need closure, and you're not going to get it by wishing ill on him. Not to say that that couldn't feel good for a moment, right? You know, I understand. You know, I'm not, you know, goody two-shoes. I get it. But it's not going to heal you. It's not going to give you closure. What will give you closure is peace when you understand your own behavior and you forgive yourself for your own behavior and your own weaknesses. And this is the same thing that I would say to Anonymous too today. Forgive yourself. Maybe you were a wimp with your first wife. Well, forgive yourself, because if you don't, you will be poisoned by that self-loathing forever, and you will let other people abuse you as well. So that's what I have to suggest, and I hope you take it to heart.
Thank you, Granny.
So are we out of time?
Yes, we are. That's a wrap. Now, I'd like to announce that we are going to be having a retreat, a weekend retreat, at the end of October 27th and 8th. And you can either attend by way of video conference online, or you can come to Oregon, or there's also a gathering in San Diego.
Right.
And Beth will be
Yeah,
leading
Beth, Granny Rocks.
AKA
I'll be
Granny
leading it
Rocks.
in Oregon, in person. We would actually
Yes.
be in the same room if you come up here.
On the Mackenzie River.
On the Mackenzie River. It's so gorgeous. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, the 27th and the 28th. Or attend online. And the topic is co-creating the life we want.
Yes.
So, you see, I knew I would get in a better mood if I talked to you. You know, I mean, I can only be a shithead for so long. So,
There we are.
and we're going to have a men's retreat
Oh, yes, that's true. This coming Sunday.
this coming Sunday.
21st.
You can do that online or live in the
that's
San
right.
Diego area.
Yeah.
And there's a relationship retreat in November.
November.
That can be relationships of any kind. All of this is on the website of theinnerrevolution.org.
And Granny is giving a concert at 5 o'clock Pacific on the 28th of this month.
That's right.
And that's
It'll be live
free.
streamed.
Just come and it's live stream.
Yeah.
Come and take it
tune
in.
Tune
It's
in.
A
Follow
whole nother
us.
level of piano playing.
Oh yeah, this is not piano. You know, this is just playing. This is fun. But this is going to be on my piano, and I'm going to be playing improvisational, intuitively guided improvisational solo piano music, which I call this concert. It's going to be called Without a Net because I'm going to be playing. Nobody ever knows what's going to come out of my mouth, including me, and I don't know what's going to come out of my fingers either. So there's lots of great stuff. So go to now. When I say it's not the innerrevolution.org, it's theinnerrevolution.org. And that's where you're going to find all kinds of information about all of this stuff. And follow Granny Rocks on Facebook so that you will be alerted whenever there is a live stream.
Yeah.
You'll know all about it, and then you can join us.
Yep. There we are.
Bye-bye. See you
Bye
next
for now.
week.